years ago, we moved into a new, even political dispensation. The way I see it is in the old dispensation, when the previous governments before 94 were in control, what they were looking for is a solution, how to manage the whole South Africa. And the model that they came up with, because of the different cultural groups, was a European model. They didn't call it apartheid, they call it separate development. And the whole idea was that these different groupings, the Zulus, the Xhosas, the Vendas, the Sothos, everybody would have their own part of the land, and we would have a whole group of states very much like in Europe. I think it was a great idea, but the challenge was that the division of land wasn't enough and big enough for these groups of people, and the whites maybe wanted to keep out too much of the land for themselves. But that again stems from what happened to the Afrikaner people in the years before that. Remember, in the beginning, when the whites started in the southern part of Africa, a halfway station, Jan van Riebeeck and those guys, they moved out because they had to farm, because the whole idea was to produce for the ships coming around the coast. And eventually the clashes between white and black started. The whites moved inland. And eventually in the Eastern Cape, where all the wars took place, the Afrikaners decided to do their great trek into the Orange Free State and the Transvaal, which they did. If you read the studies, yes, there were clashes, yes, there were fights, but in most cases, these groups, because there were 9 different groups moving inland, were not wiping out the black people, they were negotiating as they were going. If you understand your history, you will also know that if you look at the situation where in KwaZulu-Natal nowadays, the Boers went and they asked the then King Dingaan, can we buy land from you? He said, yes, I've got lots of land. You go and fetch the cattle from Sekondela that he has stolen, the black chief, from me, and I will give you land. Which they did. They went and they got those cattle back. And then when they were thinking that it was now the time to sign the contract for the land that they were given, suddenly Dingaan jumped on them and he wiped them all out. So that led eventually to the Boers understanding, but they'll have to fight this black king, which they did. And at Blood River, at that decisive battle, the Zulu army were basically destroyed, and that led now to this area where the whites were the victors. Now, the minute that you do the fighting and one is the victor, he takes the land. It's not in South Africa that it happens. It happens in history in all countries. And just after settling, what you will find is we discover gold and diamonds in the Orange Free State and the then Transvaal. And what happens? Who are the first on the scene? Is the British. And we fight 2 wars against the British. All right? The first war we win in 1880-81. The second war, the British come with 500,000 troops. They come and fight 50,000 Boers, 10-1. They drive them back through Bloemfontein and Kimberley, through Johannesburg and Pretoria. And the Boers, they go into guerrilla warfare. And what happens is that the British come with a counter strategy, scorched earth, the scorched earth policy. And in that, they take 144,000 white women and children off the farms. They burn the farms, they kill all the animals. and they put the women in 50 concentration camps, where eventually, in that year and a half that it lasted, 34,011 white women and children perished. What did the Boers do? They went to their farmers for information and for food on the farms. What did the British do? They took all those black people and put them in separate camps, 64 camps for black people, where 140,000 of them went in, and between 18 and 22,000 of them